In the year 1972, an iconic series premiered on screens. It was not like any other series that was being aired at the time. With a unique plot and incredible acting, the cast members delivered memorable performances that will not be forgotten in a hurry. For 11 seasons, this series put smiles on the faces of television viewers and became one of the most loved shows at the time. It's been decades since the series ended, and sadly several cast members have passed away. Here are the MASH cast members who are still alive. You'll be surprised to know what some of them are up to now. Alda, the gift that kept giving till the end. Anyone who was a fan of the series would agree that Alan was one of the main characters who kept viewers coming back episode after episode. He played the role of Captain Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce, and he nailed it. It's been decades since the show ended, but Alan's work still speaks for him in the industry. This actor who contributed to the iconic show is now 88 years old. On the show, his character Hawkeye was this witty, smart alecky surgeon stationed in a mobile army surgical hospital during the Korean War. He's like the heart and soul of the whole gang, cracking jokes left and right, but also deeply compassionate when it comes to saving lives amidst all the chaos of war. He brought this perfect balance of humor and humanity to the character. It was later discovered that he served in the military during the Korean War. Perhaps this contributed to his ability to bring his character to life in such a unique way. Alan played his role so well that he ended up raking of 25 Emmy Award nominations and several other accolades. Although some of his co-stars didn't get major roles after the series, Alan went on to become one of the most successful cast members from MASH. Not only did he get major acting opportunities, he also wrote and directed movies like The Four Seasons. There is no denying that Alan has always been a screen genius. Whether he is in front of the camera or behind the scenes, he sure knows how to create memorable films. In the early 1990s, he was on television giving his audiences a show in series like ER and The West Wing. He kept on entertaining his fans throughout the 2000s, but he soon discovered that he had an ailment that could potentially hinder him from doing what he loves the most. In 2015, Alda received a heart-wrenching diagnosis that he never saw coming. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and the news left him devastated. He withdrew from screens to get the necessary treatment, and it was in 2018 that he decided to share this news with the world in an interview. He made it clear that he was not going to retire. He was just worried about how this illness will affect his work. One can tell that Alda really loves acting and the art of filmmaking because he has not stopped acting since then. Fans of the television series Ray Donovan saw the actor on their screens as he took on a recurring role on the show from 2018 to 2020. One would think that as the actor is approaching 90, he would pump the brakes on his career. But this MASH star has decided to keep appearing on screens, his most recent appearance being in the 2022 film Ray Donovan, the movie. It's safe to say this phenomenal actor who breathed life into the character of Captain Hawkeye is living a full life and is determined to leave the world with an abundance of his creative works. Gary Berghoff, the MASH missing piece. When the series took off, it seemed like Gary Berghoff had the most insignificant role, but as time went on, the audiences realized that no other person would have brought the role of Radar O'Reilly to life like Gary Berghoff. You won't believe what this actor is up to these days. Radar, the pint-sized powerhouse of the 4077th, was always with that trusty teddy bear tucked under his arm. He was like the heart of the camp, the go-to guy for everything including predicting incoming choppers, and man was he loyal. He'd take a bullet for Colonel Blake without a second thought, and his fans were captivated by his uncanny ability to capture Radar's innocence and naivety while still being incredibly endearing. He may not have been the star of the show, but he was certainly a unique and interesting addition to the series. Any fan of the series would remember that scene in Abyssinia Henry. That was his shining moment. When he stumbled into the OR and dropped that bombshell about Blake's plane going down, you could feel the gut punch right along with him.
I have a message. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors.
Sadly, he didn't spend much time on the show after that scene. Although it was clear that he had so much potential, Gary Berghoff wasn't as successful as some of the other cast members after the show. After leaving MASH, Berghoff's career took a bit of a turn. He did a few TV guest spots here and there. It was said that he also branched out into theater. He reportedly invented some things like a toilet seat lifting handle and fishing tackle. And turns out he became a pretty talented jazz drummer now. But no matter what else he did, Berghoff will always be remembered as Radar. He brought so much heart and soul to that character, and without him, MASH just wouldn't have been the same. Loretta Swit, the one that would never be forgotten. This beautiful actress brought color and sunshine to the set of the series, but there was more to her than her obvious good looks. Although she became famous for her role in the series MASH, she made several Broadway appearances in the early years of her career. However, her role in the series opened her up to many opportunities and led to her becoming an established television actress in the 70s and 80s. Before we uncover what this actress has been up to, let's take a trip down memory lane to a time when Loretta graced the screens in the iconic series. Loretta Swit, the fabulous Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan. She was like the fierce queen bee of the 4077th, ruling the roost with equal parts authority and sass. Now, Margaret started off as this by-the-book, no-nonsense head nurse. She was all about military discipline and maintaining order in the chaos of war. But as the series went on, we got to see her layers peel back, revealing this whole other side to her character. She wasn't just a strict nurse. She was vulnerable. She was complex. She was human. She appeared in almost every single episode and ended up winning 2 Emmy Awards for her role on the show. Several fans of the show have attested to the fact that after Alda, she was the second most captivating character on the show. One thing is true, Swit brought this incredible depth to the role. She could go from being tough as nails to showing genuine compassion in the blink of an eye. And her chemistry with the rest of the cast, especially with Hawkeye and Frank Burns, was electric. You could feel the tension whenever she was on screen, whether she was trading barbs with Hawkeye or trying to keep Frank in line. But what really made Margaret shine was her evolution throughout the series. We watched her grow from this uptight army nurse to a confident, independent woman who wasn't afraid to stand up for herself. And Swit played every step of that journey flawlessly. It's safe to say MASH wouldn't have been the same without her. Margaret added this unique balance to the ensemble cast. She was the yin to Hawkeye's yang, the foil to his antics. And her presence helped ground the show, reminding viewers that even in the midst of war, there's still room for humanity. Loretta Swit as Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan was an absolute powerhouse. There is no denying that she brought heart, humor, and a whole lot of sass to the role, and it's difficult to forget such a character. After the role in this show, she went on to appear in other television shows and also lent her voice for shows like Batman, the animated series. Loretta Swit later married an actor named Dennis Holoman. He was said to have appeared briefly in the series MASH, but was never a main character. Over the years, she remained close to her co-star, Alda, and some other cast members who passed away. Aside from her acting endeavors, she has authored a book titled A Needlepoint Scrapbook. The actress, who is now 86 years old, is an animal rights activist, and for a woman in her 80s, she looks absolutely gorgeous. Mike Farrell, an awful farewell. When Mike Farrell was chosen to appear in the series, he was not just excited about the role, but also about the fact that he would be acting on the same set with his wife Judy Farrell, who had a recurring role as a nurse on the show. Mike Farrell, a former cast member of the iconic series MASH, stepped into the role of Captain B.J. Honeycutt after Wayne Rogers' departure. With his bushy mustache and laid-back charm, Farrell became something of a sex symbol, particularly during a time when mustaches were considered upper-lip aphrodisiacs. Fans loved Farrell's portrayal of B.J. Honeycutt for his charm, humor, and the way he complimented the cast. Although he joined when the show was already in its 4th season, He made the most of his time on the show. After MASH, Farrell didn't just kick back and relax. He took hold of all the opportunities he got and dived into a whirlwind of activity, both in the entertainment world and beyond. He took a step back from acting for a bit to focus on political causes, notably serving as an observer for Amnesty International during the Salvadoran Civil War in the 1980s. He continued to be vocal about social and political issues, becoming a prominent critic of the Iraq War in the 2000s. He has never been afraid of sharing his candid opinions about sensitive issues. After that, Farrell wasn't done making waves in the industry. He teamed up with Marvin Minoff to form a production company, which led to projects like the 1988 film Dominic and Eugene, starring Ray Liotta and Tom Hulce. Then, a decade later, he had a hand in bringing us Robin Williams' funny doctor vehicle, Patch Adams. He proved to his fans that he was here to stay, and with every creative venture, Farrell kept on building his career strategically. Interestingly, Farrell's involvement in the entertainment industry wasn't just limited to producing. He continued to grace our screens, making appearances on various TV shows like Providence, where he had a 5-season run on NBC's hour-long drama. And if you thought that was all, think again. Farrell also popped up in guest roles on popular shows like Desperate Housewives and Without a Trace. His roles were usually memorable, as he did everything within his power to embody his roles excellently. Even beyond Hollywood, Farrell stayed active in the industry, serving as the vice president of the Screen Actors Guild from 2002 to 2005. These days, while he might not be as front and center in the entertainment world, you can bet he's still making a difference, whether it's through acting, activism, or any other passion project he's got up his sleeve. Jeff Maxwell, the exit of an icon. He came on the iconic show as an uncredited actor, but before he left the show, audiences fell in love with him. This actor, who was best known for his role in the iconic series MASH, got into acting through a mixture of passion and persistence. Before he landed his role in the series, Maxwell was hustling in the entertainment industry, taking on various roles until he got his breakthrough role. Before joining the cast of MASH, Maxwell had a handful of roles in television shows and movies. He appeared in series like 8 is Enough and House Calls, and had roles in films like Kentucky Fried Movie and Airplane. These early gigs provided Maxwell with valuable experience and helped him refine his craft. In MASH, Maxwell played the role of Igor Straminsky, the lovable and somewhat bumbling cook at the 4077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Igor was known for his interesting culinary skills and his interactions with the other characters, particularly Hawkeye, Trapper John, and later, B.J. Honeycutt. Maxwell's portrayal of Igor added a layer of humor to the show, contributing to its overall charm and appeal. While Igor wasn't a central character like Hawkeye or Radar, Maxwell's performance ensured that he became a memorable part of the MASH ensemble. He would later win an award for his performance on the show. After MASH, Maxwell authored a best-selling cookbook titled Secrets of the MASH Mess, The Lost Recipes of Private Igor. People who enjoyed his performance in the iconic series were excited to see what was in the cookbook, as some believed that Private Igor was secretly a good cook. People who purchased the book claimed that it was filled with all kinds of goodies, from never-seen-before pictures to letters to Igor's mom. While Maxwell may not have achieved the same level of fame as some of his MASH co-stars, his contributions to the show and his subsequent work in the industry are still remembered fondly by fans. Aside the cookbook, Maxwell also created a radio show called Breaking In with his close friend. His show is said to be one of the shows that have helped people all over the world to navigate breaking into the entertainment industry and staying relevant over time. He is also the host of a podcast called MASH Matters, where listeners tune in to discuss things going on in the entertainment industry. The actor, who is now 76 years old, is hell-bent on enjoying the rest of his days. As someone who loves skiing, he hopes to spend the rest of his days doing the things he loves the most and living an adventurous life. Odessa Cleveland, the fan favorite. If you were a loyal fan of the series MASH, you certainly noticed this beautiful nurse who brought her light to the iconic series. Although it was normal for nurses to come and go on the show, her departure was the most difficult for fans to accept. The former actress, who is now in her late 70s, no longer graces the screens and is focused on her private life. Before we get into what she has been up to over the years, let us explore Odessa's role in the series and how she managed to make audiences fall in love with her. Odessa Cleveland, who was loved for her role as Ginger Bayless in the early seasons of MASH, made a significant impact on the show as one of its most frequently featured nurses from 1972 to 1975. Cleveland's character, Nurse Bayless, stood out as one of the few black actors in a recurring role on the show. She may have looked different from the other cast members, but she made sure that she showcased the excellence that people of color were capable of. One of her standout moments came in the Season 2 episode, Dear Dad 3, where Nurse Bayless found herself confronting a racist patient. In this powerful episode, viewers witnessed Nurse Bayless, alongside Hawkeye and Trapper, not only treating the patient, but also delivering a powerful lesson in tolerance and respect. Following her time on MASH, Cleveland continued to make contributions to the entertainment world. She made a guest appearance on the MASH spin-off series Trapper John Maryland in 1986, showcasing her enduring connection to the franchise. Beyond acting, Cleveland went on to explore her creative talents as an author, penning several novels, including the highly regarded poetry collection Of Age and Edges, which has earned a 4-star rating on Goodreads. Through her writing, Cleveland has continued to captivate audiences with her storytelling abilities, demonstrating her versatility and depth as an artist beyond the realm of television. While her time on MASH remains a significant part of her legacy, Odessa Cleveland's career after the show showcases her ongoing dedication to artistic expression and creative exploration. She may not be acting anymore, but her work both on and off the screen has left a lasting impact. She has managed to live a private life over the years and has not appeared in any series or movie for decades. Jamie Farre, the MASH male queen. Did you know that Jamie Farre started acting when he was only 11 years old? Although this actor is mostly known for his role as Corporal Klinger in the series MASH, he started acting earlier on in his life. Interestingly, Jamie Farre was drafted in the late 1950s and spent some time undergoing training at Fort Ord in California. After 2 years of active duty, he returned to the U.S. but couldn't pursue acting full-time till later on. After taking on small roles in films like The Greatest Story Ever Told and No Time for Sergeants, he landed a role in the 4th episode of MASH. What a lot of his fans didn't know was that Farre was struggling financially at the time. His career had not picked up, so he had no major source of income. Being selected to appear in the series gave him an opportunity to not only put himself out there, but also put food on the table. But despite his personal problems, he still tried to breathe life into his character. Jamie Farre's character in MASH was that of Corporal Maxwell Q. Klinger, the guy who became famous for rocking dresses better than most ladies. Klinger was this wild and wacky character who was always scheming to get himself out of the Army. His big idea? Dress up in all sorts of zany outfits, hoping to get a Section 8 discharge, a one-way ticket out of the military because he was supposedly crazy. But no matter how hard he tried, Klinger just couldn't catch a break. Even though he never managed to score that discharge, he became a fan favorite for his hilarious attempts. Farre's portrayal of Klinger was spot on, delivering those crazy schemes with just the right mix of desperation and humor. Although it seemed like he was having fun on the show, Jamie Farre reportedly had a hard time getting the studio to put him on a contract. It was said that a contract would have meant a salary increment, and they didn't want that. Truth is, MASH wasn't just any old show. It was a juggernaut of television. It's like one of those shows that's permanently etched into the pop culture hall of fame. And Farre, well, he was right in the middle of it all. His role as Klinger catapulted him to stardom. People loved him, not just for the laughs he brought, but for how he added heart and humanity to the show. Thankfully, that success didn't just stop with MASH. Farre's career got a serious boost from the show. He became a household name, and that opened up a ton of doors for him in the entertainment industry. After the show came to an end, Farre and some other cast members reprised their roles in 2 seasons of the show's spin-off After MASH, where he delivered yet another interesting performance. Like some other cast members of the show, Farre got several opportunities after the show. He appeared on movies like Combat Academy, Return of the Rebels, In 1994, the actor published an autobiography titled Just Far Fun. His career was going well until 2014 when he reportedly collapsed during a dinner show. He was later diagnosed with atherosclerosis and had to get treated. Sadly, his health condition worsened over the years and he had to retire from acting. The actor is now 89 years old and is still very much alive. It is clear that building a career in the entertainment industry can be a blessing and a curse. Over the years, some Hollywood stars have thrown parties to cool off and escape the pressure of fame. Sadly, some of these parties didn't end well. Here are 6 tragic stories of Hollywood parties that turned into tragic tales.